What's going on, guys? This video is an advanced Shinobi guide after the core combat update. To get things started, I'm going to quickly show you guys his frame advantages. After the core combat update, all heavy chain finishes on block will leave you with a frame advantage, meaning you can hit before your opponent. But this isn't how it works for Shinobi. When Shinobi's heavy chain finisher is blocked, both you and your opponent are left in the neutral. Meaning, if you and your opponent were to spam the light attack button, both attacks would come out at the same time, and you would hit each other, so you should probably backflip away if your heavy chain finisher is blocked, as Shinobi. Now this is where it gets interesting. Shinobi's zone attack actually leaves him with the frame advantage, meaning he can hit before his opponent after his zone attack hits, even if it's blocked or not. And he can also cancel it midway, and you'll still be left in the frame advantage. Okay, that's enough talk about his frame advantages. Now, we should talk about his mix-ups and his pressure and what you should actually do in a fight. So, his best move he's got is his kick. It's his only bash move, but it's got a few viable mix-ups out of it. So if you land the kick, you get a guaranteed heavy attack for 20 damage. So a lot of people are going to try dodge the kick when you double dash in. So you're going to want to double dash in, do a heavy attack, but feint out that heavy attack and get a guard break on them. This works a lot of the time because your opponent's trying to dodge your kick and they see the double dash. So you're dashing up to them so they get scared. They think it's going to be the kick, but it's actually a heavy attack and you cancel it out and then catch them with the guard break when they're dodging. They can't counter guard break, and you get a free heavy into a light attack. So if your opponent doesn't dodge and you hit them with a kick, you can get a light attack after the heavy. Or you can just get the heavy, then roll in and do a backflip to drain a bunch of stamina. And that's got a mix up to it, right here. If you hit them, roll in, and then do a heavy attack, that catches them if they're trying to dodge the backflip stamina drain. And if you hit the backflip stamina drain, it gives you quite a lot of distance between you and your opponent, and that's where Shinobi thrives. Also, if you land a kick, then a heavy attack, then roll in, and then do the heavy attack, and they don't dodge and try to parry it, you can guard break them out of their attack. Also, if you double dash at someone, you can do a ranged attack if you think they're going to dodge your kick. So you predict that they're going to dodge, and you can do a ranged attack, and it will catch them. But it is very unsafe, because if they don't dodge, and they read what you're going to do, they can knock you on the ground from a counter guard break, and get a lot of damage. So yeah, that's why the other option I showed you is way safer. The one where you double dash up to them and click heavier, then cancel it out into a guard break. That is way more reliable. Now what I'm showing you now doesn't actually happen often. If you dash up to someone and do the kick, and they dodge it, and they try to guard break, if you backflip, it'll make them bounce off, and then you can get a guaranteed long range grab on them. Also, make sure when you're doing a long ranged attack, if you want to go for a light attack after, make sure you do it in a different direction, because if you do it in the same direction, for some reason it doesn't have enough range to attack them. Keep in mind, a lot of people like to parry your long-ranged attacks. So after your kick and your guaranteed long-range attack, you can do another long-range attack and cancel it out into a guard break to catch people trying to parry it. Because it is very tempting to parry, because they want to pull you to the ground and get a lot of damage from it. He's got a very good in and out playstyle. So this one seems kind of scummy, but you double dash in and do 2 light attacks in the same direction, because if you do a light in one direction and then another light in the same direction, the second light is guaranteed. So you just dash in, get some light attacks, backflip, and dash out. This can keep your opponent in check, keep them in place so you can set up your other attacks, and it makes your opponent very angry and frustrated. So they tend to do very stupid things if you're playing like this. If you're dashing in and out, doing light attacks, and backing out, playing far away from your opponent, they are going to do some stupid things to try to catch you. And you can take advantage of their mistakes. And don't be afraid to light attack from neutral, because a lot of players will eventually try to spam guard breaks on you, if you're playing Shinobi, because you like to dash around a lot, because all of your moveset comes from your dashes, basically. They're going to try guard break you a lot. So just make sure you just use light attacks to interrupt them and stop them from guard break spamming and doing anything crazy. Also, you can zone attack from your double dash, which is very good. Not a lot of people expect it. And like I said before, you have the frame advantage after you hit any of that zone attack. So you can cancel it out and then do some more light attacks in different directions. Now the clip you're watching right now is just me adding all the things I said together. So you'll get some idea of what it's going to look like when you get into game. And this is just easier for you to pick up on what I actually do when I'm in a fight. Another reminder, don't be afraid to unlock and get some distance, or even run away from the fight entirely if you're playing any Force mode. Because your character has a double sprint for a reason. Also, what I like to do is do my zone attack and then cancel it out into a guard break. For the people who are trying to parry my second part of my zone attack. Doesn't happen often, but sometimes people have no clue what they're doing and they try to parry it, so I can guard break them when they try to do that. Also, the zone attack has insane tracking. No one's going to be able to dodge that, ever. It tracks to both sides perfectly. And for the parry punishes, a heavy parry gives 18 damage. You do this by clicking light attack right when you parry the attack, and it does a counter attack for 18 damage. Okay, now onto the light attack. You get 28 damage. To perform this attack, you do a heavy attack and a light attack in the same direction, and the light attack will be guaranteed. Okay, now onto the best deflect. The best deflect is, once you deflect their attack, you click guard break to kick them away, and then your heavy attack button to hit them with the long range attack. This does 24 damage, but it can be blocked only if you throw your long ranged attack in the same direction that your opponent threw his attack that you deflected. So if you deflect his attack that was at the top, just make sure you throw your long range attack to one of the sides. Or if he did it on the sides, make sure you throw it at the top, just to make sure it's guaranteed. To perform this deflect, just click light attack after you deflect your opponent's attack. This one only does 14 damage, but I don't think it drains as much stamina from you. And it might give you the frame advantage. I'm not too sure, I didn't test it out much because I never use it. But it is a lot faster, so if you're in a sticky situation you need to deflect fast, get some easy damage. It's pretty good. It's really reliable. Now, onto the out of stamina punishes. If you get a guard break and your opponent's out of stamina, throw them to the left or to the right, and get a light attack into a heavy, into a chain light. The chain light's not guaranteed, but it does 1 damage of chip damage, which is alright. It's better than nothing. And now, for the parry punishes, when your opponent's out of stamina. You do the exact same thing, but the last light attack is guaranteed. There's also another punish you can do. If your opponent throws an attack while out of stamina, you can double dodge, then do a ranged grab into the heavy and then a bunch of lights. It does an alright amount of damage. Okay, now onto his running slide attack thingy. Yeah, I set the bot to block, so I'm pretty sure it gives you a guaranteed 2 light attacks. But I read somewhere online that the second light attack isn't guaranteed, because you can dodge out of it. So I'm not too sure if that's 100% accurate. But you can also use the slide to set up some pressure for your other moves, but honestly it's kind of a useless move. Okay, long ranged attacks. He's got 2 long-range attacks. One is the normal attack and the normal heavy attack, and the other one is the long-range grab. Both are only useful in 4v4 game modes or 2v2s. They're kind of bad in 1v1s, except for the long-range grab. Maybe you can use some of the setups I showed previously and catch people if they're trying to dodge you. It's very good in ganks though. Both his long-ranged heavy and his long-range grab are very good on people who aren't focusing on you. If they're versing your teammates, you can snipe at anybody you want, and they can't do anything about it. And if they start running at you, just kind of back off a little and let your teammate deal with him. And then when he's back in the fight, start sniping him again. It is very good in 4v4s. And just make sure not to get counter guard broken, especially when versing Yorm. They can just slam you with their hammer and it's absolutely devastating. Okay, now onto his dash. One thing about his dash, if you do his double dash and then hold the heavy attack button to go into long range mode, it makes the recovery of your dash better, so you can dash again, so you can deflect faster, or you can go into another double dash a little faster. And yeah, it's quite good. You can also use holding down your heavy button to go into long range mode to make your recovery better on a lot of other attacks. I'll show an example of me using it on the Keck. I do the Keck, once I finish it, I go into long range mode so my recovery is better, so I can deflect faster. I got a strat that I like to use. I set in ranged mode, and that tempts my opponent to do their dashing and attack because I can't block while in ranged mode. They don't keep in mind that I can deflect them. So a lot of people I verse, if they see me in ranged mode, they'll go in for their dashing and attack, and they'll think it's free damage, but I just deflect them. This happens all the time. So I highly recommend baiting our deflects. Okay, for the perk build and the armor build that I use for Shinobi, for the perks, I use the Ki as number 1, but Bounty Hunter is probably better. I'm not too sure. I just like Ki because Shinobi's not the greatest character in the game, so using an ability like that I get back in like 60 seconds, I'm not too sure. It's pretty fun, wins me a lot of fights. I know it's kind of scummy, but you know, who cares? Shooting stars, are also very fun to use. Probably the smoke bomb's a little better, but I like shooting stars, fun as to use, so that's what I use. And also, for the first slot I use stealth sometimes, because it's quite fun being in stealth, but it's not really competitive at all. And you can see the last 2 perks that I use. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but I get stamina back on successful hits and health back on successful hits. So yeah, it's just very good for sitting back in 4s, sniping at all the enemies, and helps me win a lot more 1v1s. Okay, now for the armor perks, I highly recommend using Supersonic. That is the most fun I've had in the game. If you're in a 1v4, and then you get revenge and you Supersonic out of there with your double sprint, you become unstoppable. You can really choose your fights. If you're in a 1v2, and you're doing good, you can stay and beat them both. But if you're losing the 1v2, get revenge, get out of there, run really fast, so much fun. It's pretty good for this character because he's quite bad in anti-gank situations. Anyway, that just about wraps up this video. And if you liked it, can you please subscribe? Be like this guy. Be exactly like this guy. He's a great role model. Sub right now.